Well, hello there. Welcome to Ginza. My name is Lucas, and today I'm doing some street photography here in the streets of Tokyo with my Ricoh GR2. Street photography and a bit of architectural photography, right? In fact, today what we're going to be doing is working the scene. And what that means is we're going to pick a spot, in this case this very busy, famous corner in the middle of the city, coincidentally across the street from the Ricoh building. And I'm going to work on getting some photos of this building behind me here, which is a different building. It's the Nissan building, focusing on its architecture and then also using its different glass surfaces and all that stuff, that's all its various visual features, to get some street photos of the people and the crowds. Okay? So come with me, we're going to explore this scene. So the first thing when presented with a cool subject like this is to start with a wide shot, just trying to get the whole thing. And that's what I just did. I just tried to get some photos of the building. But what I quickly found is that from where I'm standing, if I try to shoot the building, I end up getting this lamp in my shot, this lamp above me, which is a bit, at first, of a nuisance. You think, oh, it's ruining my shot. And what am I going to do about it? How do I get rid of it? So actually, what I realized is, after taking a few photos, is that if I incorporate the lamp into my shot, I'll not only get a better view of the building because I can be farther back, but also it'll be much more interesting than just the building, right? So I'm going to do that. I'm going to do a vertical composition here, and I'm going to line myself up so I can get the building and the street lamp into this one sort of surreal abstract shot. Okay? So that's kind of the maybe first tip about working the scene, is be open to the unexpected. Right? So I wasn't necessarily prepared for this to be an interesting element in my shot, but it was there, so rather than fighting against it, which is impossible, I, accepted it. In the words of Bruce Lee, be like water. But anyway, let's try it from some other angles. So if I come over here a little bit, and I'll try the same idea, but from a slight off-centered shot. Okay. And that's very different from the shot before. I would say even better in terms of the exposure, because the way the light kind of silhouettes the lamp instead of in the previous shot where the lamp is perfectly lit by the sun. Okay? So we got some wide shots of the building. Now we're going to get closer and we're going to try to get some shots of this car in the window over here. But of course not the car itself, but try and incorporate the reflections. That's kind of cool. All right, so I did the wide shot, we got the whole building, and now we're moving a bit closer. There's obviously this really, really cool car here in the window. They keep changing it out, but luckily it's red today. Sometimes it's a red car, sometimes it's a silver car. I'm happy that it's a nice bright red one, because that's going to give some opportunities to capture, how do you say, like color juxtaposition, right? Red car, something red in the reflection. Okay. Also, I'm very close to the glass because I want to shoot the reflections in the window, kind of like a composite shot, rather than being far away and just seeing the car itself. I'm not that interested in the car, although it is pretty cool. So I'm getting really close to the glass here. I'm focusing on the car because I do want it sharp. I want all those numbers and things sharp. And then I'm waiting for like a pair of somebody's legs like walking by in the bottom of the frame. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to stay out of my own reflection here. Okay, keep it out. And then I'm moving the frame around, trying to get an interesting contrast with the people walking back behind me here. Okay, and I think I got a good one just a moment ago, and now I'm actually struggling to get a good one. It's really all about timing and getting the right person in the right position. So street photography, of course, is a lot of trial and error, and in this case, it's part of this idea of working the scene. I don't know that there's going to be a good photo here until I try. That's the idea behind working the scene. You got to try, and then by trying and failing multiple times, you can start to rule things out. You can say, okay, this concept's not going to work, or it will work, but it's just going to take many more tries and just the right person. Or maybe I got to tweak my position a little bit. I got to get a little higher, a little lower, right? As I say that, I'll follow my own advice and actually try that. Let's try that. Let's try a little higher. That might actually be a little better. Make sure I have the focus here. And I'm going to try a little lower, and I think that's not going to work as well because it'll be harder to see the people. Although the car looks a lot more cool. The car looks very impressive that way because it kind of goes over the camera. So I'm gonna get really low. Now it actually looks like a double exposure with the buildings in the background, right? Can't even really see the people anymore, although here we go, we had somebody, yeah? Cool, cool, there we go, there we go. Very nice. Yeah, this is actually working really well. And there's also this writing here on the platform, which I really don't want. I don't want such an obvious writing. It says something about, you know, the car itself. It's not very interesting, so I'm trying to kind of frame it out. By being low, it's actually making the writing much less noticeable. Right? So as you can see, I'm moving the camera a lot. I'm constantly changing things, trying to find a cool frame, something interesting, because it's really kind of playful, right? It's a kind of play. And by the way, I will say that that's one reason I like this camera, is that it allows me to make these changes very easily. You know, I do love using my SLR as well, but then I gotta like do this. With this thing, I can just move it around with my hands, and that's really, really cool. All right, I got enough of those. Let's do some more higher up ones. Again, the really hard part is not having myself in the frame here, in the reflection. All right. But anyway, I think I got a bunch of cool stuff. All right, so we got some shots of this. Now I want to go around the corner and try to use the big glass facade over there to see if I can get some very symmetrical reflections. Now, in this case, I have like, I'm still working the scene, but I have a bit of an advantage because it's a technique that I've used before. So I'm employing a technique that I used somewhere else, but I know well, I don't know just yet, but I suspect that I can apply it over here. And you see, if you look right along the glass here, you can see that this big glass facade creates this symmetrical reflection. So all I have to do is put my camera right on the glass like that, and there we go. I can get these really, you know, dramatic, they almost look like a kaleidoscope, right? Or fractals or something like that. So yeah, very cool. Okay. That's actually pretty impressive today. Very nice. Like I said, I've used this technique before in other places. So you can see exactly what this looks like. Okay, and actually I'll do this horizontally. There we go. Okay, so I'm right on the glass. That's the trick. Beauty of most cameras, well, not every camera, but this camera has a flat bottom and a flat side, which actually, it's a very like nitpicky thing, but I love that I can just put the whole camera there, or I could put it this way and it's perfectly lined up, because if this was rounded or something, like if I try to use the top, then it kind of wobbles and it's not clear when I have perfect symmetry. This is like automatic symmetry. I just slap it on there, stick it on there, and it just, bam, it just works, you know? Easy mode, okay? Now, of course, there's another surface here, so I could also try using this one. This one's also pretty cool. This one's actually really cool. Actually, this is even better. And see, you can see I'm getting kind of excited, and that's because I am impressed with how good it looks. You know, it's better than I expected. Okay, it's gonna be hard to see here. Yeah, let's see if we can get the camera in there. Okay, so I'm gonna focus. You see, I'm gonna pull away from the glass to focus. I could use Ricoh's snap focus here, but I'm not using it right now. Okay, and then, ooh, there we go. And what I really want, because it's a sunny day, I'm gonna underexpose a bit. I'm gonna focus back there. I want, people are carrying umbrellas on this sunny day. I really want umbrellas. And at this point, it really becomes about patience, right? Because I can wait, like ideally, like I just did actually, getting a person who's just one person, not a whole bunch of people, you know, so one umbrella. So I'm gonna be here for a little while. That's another aspect of working the scene, is be patient. Make sure you wait for the shot. Don't just take it and then, you know, run away thinking, oh, that's good enough. Because good enough is not, you know, it's not perfect. To keep the focus, I'm keeping the button halfway pressed, and I'm keeping it halfway pressed even between shots. Here we go, parasol. Yeah, cool. And I'm just snapping away every time I see somebody that's kind of vaguely interesting, I shoot. Because there's not much time to think, because they're not in the sweet spot very long. Okay, so I got a bunch of shots of that, and also this way, but of course we can shoot the other way, so let's go down a little bit, and I'm going to use the same glass technique but in the opposite direction. So I don't know if I need to go very far. I think just a little bit of the way is fine, like right about here. Okay, and I'm going to focus on the background over there. And once again, just put it on the glass. And this time it looks very different. It looks different because the light, mainly, that's the big reason. The sun is going like straight down the street. Earlier it was, going, we're shooting into the sun, now we're shooting with the sun behind us. And again, I'm going to wait for a little while. And especially I want to wait for some people crossing from over there when the light turns green to coming towards me over here. Kind of like this guy did, which I just missed. That's okay. In fact, let's go a little bit closer. Again, the idea of working the scene is I don't know what the sweet spot is. I want to be close enough to make the scene big. I want people to stand out. And I don't want some of the clutter. When I was farther back, I could see the top part here. I could see this white sign over here. And they didn't look very good. Now it's a much more minimal scene. You should be trying to minimize things. So less is more if possible. Not always, but if you can reduce the clutter in the frame, although that is a contradiction with what we said earlier with the lamp, but that was a special case. But generally you want to reduce the clutter in the frame. So when you're working the scene, you're trying to figure out ways to make the scene a bit simpler while still being an interesting composition. Very good. I'm going to get even closer. I'm going to get right in here. What I really want is someone to get really close to the glass, and they're going to be very prominent and interesting. Composition looks very sweet. I love the light we have today on a side note. Very nice. It's like sunny, but not too sunny. So many interesting characters appeared there. Umbrella, great. Great. Okay, that was awesome. Okay, so we did a whole bunch of stuff with the reflections in one direction, the other bit of window, did the whole building. And I also actually went inside to shoot because it's okay to shoot in there, but we didn't want to shoot video in there. I don't know how they were going to feel about it, so we just didn't shoot this part, but I can still talk about it. Basically, there's these vertical glass beams, and from the inside, as you can see in the photos that I'm showing right now, the light kind of hits them really well, really interesting way. And then there are people walking through and you can see their shadows on the ground. And I thought that was really cool. So another way to work the scene, you're outside, try to go inside. A lot of buildings are public places like this one is. It's a public showroom. You can go inside and take some pictures. All right, so that about covers it. A bunch of different ways to work the scene and, be creative, think outside the box, get different kind of shots with a pretty static subject, in this case, this building and all the different mirrors and glass and all that stuff that's there. And yeah, I hope that gives you some ideas. To kind of summarize it, as you saw, getting close, using reflections, and not being afraid of, when you're doing a wide shot, of incorporating additional kind of unique elements and all that. Okay, so when you get out there, try to keep these things in mind, and good luck shooting in the streets.